can it has to touch the table, so it's kind of a haptic feedback, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. And
Yeah,
the
I wanna
way that
try
you
it.
grab the controllers to paint, that's very unique. I like it.
How does the desktop streaming work?
I don't know. I haven't tried yet, but you have to download a software on your computer, and then you can stream the screen.
I want to do
I'm
that.
curious if other
But,
people will be able to see your screen, or if it's local only to your connection, or
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose they have.
can share it
They will have
manually.
the ability to see it, but
Tony, should we kick off stream?
I don't know. I feel like Facebook is kind of
Okay, cool.
trying to copy everything that has potential, right?
oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
They either buy it or just copy it and just screw the people
Yeah.
that made it. Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, they're
it's
a
rough.
very moral and ethical company. Yes.
You want to know?
I mean, for
wanna know-
Spatial is the app that did this thing, and I really like it, but they are doing the very same thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
Yeah.
kind of monopoly. how do you say it?
Yeah, well, that's how they
Yeah.
make money, right? It's like with all big businesses. Like, I don't know if you guys are aware of what I do, but like, I work in the adult industry in VR. And that's basically what like the biggest companies do as well. They just like, they buy up everything and copy everything. And then it destroys like the smaller market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's
unfortunate.
fine if they buy the app, or the
Yeah.
team. But if you're copying it,
Hey, how's it going?
it's not very ethical, right?
Right,
No, it's
exactly.
not. Like what they did with your VR.
How you doing?
What they're
Yeah.
doing with virtual
Good and you.
desktop, what they've
I'm
done.
doing
Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
What
Yes.
else? Just
I
there's
hear
just
you.
a whole
If,
lot of them.
It's
Yeah.
kind
If
of
you want to set up a
you
avatar, you don't
won't
have to. But if you
think
want
about
to,
things that
on your profile
maybe
page on Spatial Ape, right above where
I
you
don't
got
know
the code to get in
that
here,
may
can make a
Facebook
little
want to do it.
avatar and then
you know,
quit the app and
like,
come back in.
I
and it'll
wouldn't
load up.
think about an app that extends the
Okay.
capabilities of Quest,
I'm gonna try to do that.
because
thanks.
Yeah,
I'm
no
in
problem.
danger of Facebook copying
Yeah.
my
Sorry?
app. So
No,
that
that
kind
sounds
of-
great. We'll see you in a
kind
certain
of
minute.
kills the innovation,
Okay.
you know, of independent people.
Yeah.
It
We
scares
own the
people.
we own the domain workroomvr.com. Fun fact.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we bought it
Oh,
before.
there you
We
go.
bought it before we
That's
heard about this
awesome.
Facebook project. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Sweet.
that feels like a 1 point for us.
Yeah, you might get an email pretty
Yeah.
soon.
We did call a lawyer to see if there was any way to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Well, you have patents, right? You can patent things.
Yeah,
well,
good patent. Not so,
yeah.
It's pretty hard for an app
for
like
software, it's not very.
Yeah, you can't really copyright software. One of the problems, you know.
Yeah.
Code is, yeah. I don't know why it's not protected. We're going in a completely digital world, you know, and yet our copyright
be more
laws
protection.
are still so ancient to not protect anybody, and it just allows for companies to take advantage of
Yeah.
people. It's super
It
sad.
only
for-
protected.
But for games, I've seen that there are many patents about some systems that exist in some games, like the arrow that points towards the objective in some driving games. That arrow is patented.
Really?
So I don't know. Maybe it's already expired.
Oh, with Crazy Taxi, yes.
Yeah, the
Crazy
Taxi
Taxi's
thing.
implementation of pointing a car forward with their arrow is patented and has been for a
Weird.
long while, which has been
Huh.
a point of contention.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, in
I've
some
pretty
ways
much given up
it's-
on copyright protection, protecting any small developer at this point. Even if you do have the proper patent, you're going to get outlawyered no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking
It's a
towards-
question of money. How much money do you have to
Yeah,
protect
that's
it,
true.
right?
If you're working on a business plan, I suppose it's a crapshoot, but yeah, do your best to make sure that whatever you're doing can still survive, even if someone wants to copy you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the best bet is to be faster, innovating, like to be more creative than Facebook, to be always one step ahead.
Or to do things they're not do at this point. Especially now, more than ever, we're at a point where we partially understand as an industry what's going to make an experience comfortable and what folks are interested in vaguely, but at the same time, nothing's set in stone, and there are directions that I could see indie developers going in that would be very popular that Facebook wouldn't touch, honestly. They might buy you out, is the only thing.
Perhaps if you have a strong community, they will respect that and buy you instead of copying you,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Or-
Virtual Desktop, I feel like, has a huge community, and they just
Yeah.
copied all their stuff.
yeah. So
It's
know,
got
I mean-
And it doesn't even work
it
as
works
well.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Virtual desktop is.
Yeah.
I don't even try the AirLink anymore
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought it, but A-Link is not working fine for me because I have the router 10 feet away, so it's not working properly. So I
Yeah.
think you have to have your device, your router, really close to you.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
even
on the
10
big.
feet is too far.
Well, it completely
In my
depends on
house,
the router.
yes, because we have a lot of walls.
Okay.
And it depends
okay.
what the walls are made out of, right? If it's
Yeah.
drywall, it might not be so bad. If it's brick, it's terrible. If there's metal in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm able to go in the other room and use Virtual Desktop and AirLink just fine, but my router is ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I have no doubt that that's the future. I mean, I streaming maybe right now is clunky, but in the future with 5G or I don't know, maybe
Wi-Fi
some
6E and 5G will make
5G or 6G. I don't know, but in the future that's the better way, I think.
Oh yeah, I
To
got
stream
a 6
really good games.
Now,
Yeah.
Quest doesn't have a 6E antenna, but I'm future proof.
Yeah.
Maybe the Quest Pro will have a 6 antenna.
Yeah, they just pulled a bunch of code that folks are guessing they accidentally left in for Quest Pro features, facial tracking, whatnot. It was just pulled in the recent Oculus Quest update. So it's interesting that at this point they're pretty aware of the peeking folks have been doing in the background of Quest software. So we might not see as much like in the direction of leaks for Quest Pro at this point.
I
Hey,
saw a
guys,
video about the
I just
next
chatted
Valve.
with Max. She
Oh.
says, "Thank you guys so
Was
much."
that the
for coming."
Really nice.
She can't
was
get
that
to work
Sadly It's Bradley
Uh,
video, or I
okay.
forget.
next week, but
Yeah.
she's out of ideas.
I saw the original
But,
patent tweet
wanted
about
to make
that,
sure I
and
said
I have
thank
no
you
clue
to
what
you
they're
guys
doing.
coming in.
It is
Very
Yeah,
dumb.
of
beyond my
course.
understanding, but
Varifocal
I trust
lens.
their hardware
Well,
folks.
keep trying.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think the
it's too bad
varifocal
that
lens.
last
I don't
week
know.
fell through, too.
Yeah,
Mm.
she just
Haven't
wasn't
tried,
feeling well yet last
I
week,
Yeah, that-
right?
couldn't imagine
Yeah,
how
I think
does
so.
it feel.
She said she got pretty
That
sick.
the
That's
the
scary too,
resemblance to
especially
the-
you know when
to
you're
the-
not at
to the
home.
reality.
and
Yeah.
that you can focus
I would be
on
such a
different
sucky
pain.
baby.
I know the Oculus team,
And you don't
their
have
optics
maybe the
team
network of
was
people to go
experimenting with
ask
a
to do
varifocal
things for
bench.
you as you normally
So
would.
tech's been around for a little while,
Exactly.
but it looks like Valve's approach is going to be.
When Max told me there had to be an update before I came in
unique.
today, I was like,
excited.
And track. I think that's
Download pretty quick though.
essential for
Hey Jesse, I made it.
good experiences to
Hey, how's it
push
going?
the boundaries of graphics.
We got to talk to someone
Because
about the trolls in this
focus
place.
just gonna mingle around
good
for
resolution and good
5 or 10 minutes and then
We
get
talk to
kicked off.
someone
that
about
you're
the controls in this place. Like
looking?
everything is teleport.
Yeah.
There's no menu
And
options.
it's
That's-
great that
that's
it
smoother.
something like
Your
varifocal
time.
displays can presumably
nice.
work with older apps. I don't
Do
think
I
you'll
have,
have to
like,
implement
red
it, so
hair right
that's going to be nice.
You do.
It's kind of new, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah, and body
Have a
track.
crisis
new,
of
yeah.
identity.
That's gonna be also
This app you're talking about?
Be proud.
a huge new
Yeah, yeah.
for
It's
for
pretty new. We
new
probably
games
launched it,
to
like,
implement it
maybe
and
4 months
Mhm.
ago.
take
And just
That's
have
what I
more-
thought.
really
Yeah,
more
having a
titles.
sense about it. It's going to be interesting with
Oh, nice, nice. All right.
how
so tell me,
Valve's
is it gonna
been
be an option to
treating,
smooth turn?
I guess
Yes,
avatars,
hopefully.
bodies in general. They have their
Sweet,
Steam
sweet.
VR home.
Sweet. So,
um,
you
if
guys
they'll
are building,
start
like,
You're talking
a
about the
showing,
downloader of some kind.
For the
Yeah.
download.
player bodies if they're
So
able to get a
for
better
the
sense
results,
of
basically
where you
what
are
it
in
is,
space,
we built
or
it
if
out
they'll
really
keep
just
to their
in
prior
one,
approach or mix
developer
things up
full-time
completely.
Tony
Is this
on
your first time
camera,
at this
and
event, or-
then
Definitely.
Rob in.
Going
I've
back
done it
to
before,
their
and that's how I
legacy
got it.
apps. At this point, it's weird to say, but the lab's a legacy app, though.
Didn't have a lot of background
They may
knowledge,
have to
just
maintain
just
as
just
they
learned
add
for him,
new
and
features to
then
their
This time I
hardware.
downloaded it. You know, sometimes
go
you
out
gotta
and
leave it
try
there for.
and
No, but
raise some
for
money where a couple
new
more people
ways
just
of
did that
locomotion,
stuff,
It was.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess the
Just
file size is not too bad.
to
360.
for the app, just to
Nice.
know
And better run.
where your hip
But
could.
yeah, he did well.
Like, hey, is that the camera guy? Let's see.
Yeah. Hey, it's
Okay.
is that okay? We can tell them to leave.
Yeah, no, it's cool. No, it's fine. This is
I'll
totally
throw
fine. And yeah, so we've been working on it full time for about 6-7 months. Raised a bit of
Awesome.
money.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So how do you what structure did you use to raise money, considering it's a decentralized project?
Yeah, I mean, we just took. It's not quite decentral. I think there's like this notion of like progressive decentralization where you start out initially as like a centralized project, and then through a token you can kind of distribute the ownership over time, like exiting to a community in a way. So we started out as like a Delaware C corp. It's an American company, but we've brought on folks from all over the world. To
That's
kind of
like-
help us out.
Yeah, I feel like there's like two, like the whole, like the spatialization of software, like getting spatial representations, VR, like LiDAR sensing, the AI behind all that. That's like one path of tech. And then like the crypto path is like this other thing happening. And sometimes like they don't mix as much as you would think. Like I've always been,
Yeah.
in the spatial side of things just because you can only focus on so much. But recently
Yeah.
I've becoming in crypto because I think, I'm certainly see the value in it also, just haven't really had time to go as deep
Well,
into it as I.
Well, I think the crypto community cares a lot about ownership, and that's like, that's what blockchains are really good at. They're really good at figuring out who owns what, and I think it's started to get the interest of the VR spatial crowd, because whatever the metaverse is, like people are describing, right, is like I'm in an Oculus headset, right, and like I think there's a bit of a fear that like whatever this metaverse thing is going to be needs to be kind of owned kind of in a collective way rather than by one centralized company. And crypto is like a great way of distributing that ownership across like multiple stakeholders that like care a lot about user privacy and kind of building a spatial web or spatial community that's good for everyone, and not just
Totally.
not just for the the shareholders of one company like Facebook.
I feel like these two like visions of Web3 are like kind of merging a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, do you would you say like do you own some crypto, or are you just like?
Like I have a bit of Bitcoin, and I have just kind of like a fun NFT side project I'm somewhat pursuing right now. I'm thinking about.
Nice.
It's just like I don't meet many crypto people, so I'll just give it to you for feedback. Basically,
Sure.
I was inspired by like the penguins and Bored Ape and these like membership based like collectible sets. I think are really
Yeah.
cool use case. And so I was thinking about doing one based off of like basically political history. So like all of, like the key historical events of our lifetime would be like minted as NFTs as a set, and people would try to like collect their birthday or like different things that they lived through or can connect with. And that was kind of the idea. So I'm like working with this guy to potentially figure out like what the art generation style is going to be and that kind of thing. Might just be a little experiment that I do.
So what you're collecting are memories, or like what is it that you're like? What is it, like a visual thing?
Yeah, like basically the idea would be to use photos from the Associated Press.
Okay, cool.
Almost like NBA Top Shots, but for like history.
And like, how are you kind of working in terms of like the IP of those images and kind of properties?
Gotta figure out next. I think we're just gonna ask them if they're like open. But
it wouldn't be the first time that folks like the Associated Press like minted things. They've done it before.
Sure. Do you know of like any? What are the projects that are most similar that come to mind? Anything that like is worth looking at?
Who was the creator of the web? I forget.
William
Tim Berners-Lee.
Tim Berners-Lee. Yeah, he sold like a picture of like a couple of lines of code that started the internet, and I don't know how much it sold for, but it was a lot. It was like $3 million or something like that, and all of it went towards the EF, like some like internet foundation.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's that in particular sparked an interesting discussion about not only what counts as an original work, but within art preservation, if they really did that code justice. Because for $3 million, it was a decently scant package. You'd think they'd include a way to actually run the code provided, but I don't think they did a very good job with that IMO. But definitely worth into.
Yeah, that's cool. One of the things I was thinking about for this historical collection would be like there could be a club aspect to it, in the sense that like by owning these NFTs, you're like cementing the memory of them, almost like a distributed ledger of the history that's being like made into NFTs, which I think is kind of cool.
I think that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, like the club could be like almost like a historical society kind of vibe-ish. The idea I had for the collection was timestamps as far as a name.
One thing that could be really interesting is like, I know news and like news reporting is sort of like a dying art right now.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of photography of like real world events, like maybe even like the stuff that's happening in Afghanistan. Like if a reporter or like a journalist were to have taken a picture of that, and they needed to kind of raise funding for their work, this would be like a great way for them to find sponsors and like partners and patrons that would be supportive of kind of independent journalism.
Totally.
And I think it plays really well with your idea of like minting and recording historical events that actually have like some sort of intrinsic value, because these events are valuable, and like I think that's really clear to understand.
Yeah, and you have like Wikipedia and things that report them, but it could be kind of a cool way to like decentralized way to record these key milestones.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
No, I think that's a great
share
idea.
That with you.
I think that's a great idea.
So it's gotcha. That's cool. So it's similar in the sense that you're using like this piece of art to represent, a transactional record that you're trying to keep track of. Digital. Yeah. Yeah.
Super cool.
Well, neat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Elijah, you're now on my short list of crypto friends.
Awesome. Okay. There's a huge community on Twitter, but like a lot of it is like around price action, and kind of there's a big DeFi crowd that like likes to go like get like 10,000% APRs.
Right.
and are super like degen. But I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think this whole like, yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure. I've let a little more crypto creep into my feed, but not too much.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's like just because it's like has such mass appeal, it has more of that issue in their communities. Like I think the VR community is a little more creator focused, and like you see more like behind the scenes of art and technical architecture and these things that get I think a little more obscured in like the mainstream crypto combos.
absolutely, yeah. So what's sort of like what's sort of next for Spatial Leap? I know you guys are doing like helping with like fundraising,
Yeah.
and you're doing this like B2B like networking stuff. Like how do you guys hope to like, are you guys like taking a cut from like some of the deals that happen, or like
So we're
what's-
not charging anything right now. Our thought was
Okay.
just like, let's just build a really cool community and start there, because I think there's a lot of options in terms of like internal advertising, even like hiring and stuff. I think is get like really pretty reasonable for us, pretty easy for us to try, but we haven't done that yet. Like basically, we started a studio like 5 years ago called Spatial Cinematics, and that was spatial software turnkey consulting for bigger companies mostly. So that's like the genesis of this, and that's how this was funded and created. And Spatial Leap is still inside of that company. So it's been, probably spent less than 100 grand on this. It's been like a pretty low budget endeavor. So partly we're trying to raise now a $2 million seed sometime in October is the ideal goal. And with that, get the team on full time. We need to do all kinds of like ramp up our marketing, get a real marketing person. I think I want to find like what the minimum viable product is hasn't quite been attained yet, I would say. Like what we've seen is that like as we add people to the community, the way it feels totally changes. Like when you're in here with 10 people, it's one experience. When you're in here with, what do we have now? Like 25 or something. Like, when you're in here last week with 40, it's another event again. So I think we want to find like how far can we take that? That's probably like, I want to maybe 10x, I would say, the community size. So we want to just like continue to iterate this new type of professional communities platform, experiment and invent things in the product until we get to that minimum viable community size, which I think is around 3,000 to 5,000. Then I think we'll have like a model or a blueprint that can be viable for other markets.
Got it. And like, do you guys plan on staying on Unity and like continuing to do like events within an app, or any plans on like looking into something like Hubs or like something on WebXR that might be like also available to participate in through like a web browser?
Yeah. Well, so we have our website, and I think definitely adding more of a fully featured experience to viewing on the web is like something we're slowly doing over time. We're about to add like a kind of a more interactive web viewing mode with emotes and that kind of thing. And eventually I think you could imagine like fully joining on the web, even participating in voice and video and that kind of thing. But we haven't really done that yet. I think we built the app because we felt like we needed to in order to cross the quality threshold of experience that was going to make this worthwhile. Like
Right.
Before we did this, we did events in Altspace, and they just weren't good enough really. And then like when we came in here, we added like a handful of these really, we added like a real, what?
Sorry, go
No,
on.
you're good.
I was just going to say we should get kicked off in a minute or so.
Okay. Usually we do 20 after. You think that's fine?
Okay, yeah.
So we were like, we're like, Altspace is suffering from the fact that they're serving so many different constituents with like really diverse needs. So we're like, let's focus just on, professionally focused events with real identity, people who are actually making stuff. I don't know if you've clicked on the avatars, but we have these like business cards and following and direct messaging on the web. And we have like a really focused messaging in our newsletter and Discord around professional opportunity.
Wow, this is really cool. Okay, I gotta follow you.
Yeah, so if you request my business card, you'll get an email sent to you that links us to a DM on spatialape.com, which is like a good way to start a conversation or share contact info, that kind of thing.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So here, Florian, what's yours?
Yeah, check it out.
Find on Discord. Oh, that's so cool.
So I think like for that experience, we wanted that end-to-end loop, and we felt like we really needed to have our own app to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
And we like building
Altspace,
stuff.
Altspace, I guess, is more for like pseudonymous kind of identities and.
Yeah, and they're just like they're captured in this weird corporate limbo now, owned by Microsoft. They just don't have the feature velocity that they need. I think they'll probably do something with it, but it's just like taking them a long time. I mean, theoretically, they could do this better than we can. They own LinkedIn, but like doing something like that would take years and years for them.
Right. Yeah, I guess from there, like monetization seems pretty easy to get to if you really wanted to do it.
For sure. I mean, like one of the validations of that is it's been impossible for us to do paid advertising. Like SideQuest is cool, but even SideQuest's 9 out of 10 users are not relevant to us because they're consumers looking for free apps.
Right.
And so there's been no place for us to advertise. So that means that there's probably a void in the market for B2B advertising in the VR industry.
How big would you say this VR like B2B market is like today? And then like how big do you hope that it will get in the next, 2-3 years?
I mean, there's like a few ways to look at that. One is like you look at something like AWE, like Augmented World Expo, and that's essentially, it's a physically driven event, but it's essentially a B2B advertising model. Like people are paying there to be seen and show stuff off to other companies in the industry. And, I saw their page yesterday, they're doing 7,000 attendees this year.
Wow.
That's 7,000 real physical attendees.
Yeah.
And that's about $1,000 a ticket is what they'll probably get. So we're talking, tickets plus sponsorships plus the other digital stuff they do. We're talking probably 10 or 20 million a year in revenue. And there's a few of those. So I think that's probably like the rough size, as far as, at least in terms of what there's historical precedent for this business model in this specific industry. But obviously, something like crypto, you might be able to do the same thing with 100 million a year in monetization if it's much bigger.
Yeah. I think our main friction point right now is people aren't super used to paying with crypto yet. Even just like educating users on what like a crypto wallet is a friction point.
I tried to get Ethereum yesterday, and my card was declined twice, and then I was like, well, I don't even know what to do next.
Exactly. What service were you using? Coinbase?
I was using MetaMask and then Transact.
Oh yeah. Transact doesn't work for like American cards and
Canadian
cards. I'm based out of Toronto, so like I tried Transact, and it doesn't work. It's not working. There's another one called MoonPay.
Okay, I'm trying to check that out.
Might be interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna buy like a few assets on OpenSea just as a learning experiment.
Yeah. Cool. All right, you probably have to get started, right?
Yeah, we're gonna just gather in the middle real quick and shoot off a T-shirt and just say a couple words, and then everyone go back to what they're doing.
For VR, because it was that way. I started back in 2015 with a Vive.
I know.
And
hey guys,
getting started
we're
with
gonna
that.
meet up in the middle in a sec. Hey, Alan.
Hey, Justin.
Hey.
Cool.
Definitely. Oh.
So Charles, are you a programmer?
So I'd watch WebEx art. You can do with a GPU if you're in an app versus just in browser space, but web GPU is going to narrow that difference a little bit, and it's just
awesome.
back baked, and people are still finding ways to integrate it, but it should reduce the draw call.
Yeah, I like.
Oh no, you're good. Sorry to interrupt. We're just gonna maybe gather up and have a quick word in the middle.
But you really
Go right back to what we're doing.
to build up those harder skills if you want to.
Nice to meet you anyway.
Hey, hello Jackson.
Waren die Leute halt nicht so begeistert, ne?
Over here.
Das ist schwierig.
Ja.
Das ist super schwierig.
It's more like an opossum.
Yeah, interesting looking bear.
The distant cousin of a bear. Give everyone a sec to come over. We built in a feature where I can press a button and everyone gets a little message, but that's not rolling out until next week. Cool. Oh, there's some more people. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Wow. Even in virtual spaces, I get kicked off. Das Buch.
Should we give them a sec?
If I click get my
Jess,
own
you wanna
info,
grab
will the
them?
whole thing crash?
Oh. Oh yeah.
If you click what, will the whole thing crash?
If I click get my info?
Oh, that's a good question. And the answer is no, it should work fine. Because
You know, if you
we
type
use
Google
a
into Google.
Yeah.
Like the box.
We use a separate
Creates
account
some
record for these
paradox.
booths.
All right.
Okay. Just getting everyone, some stragglers, and they're here. Well, what's up, everyone? Thanks so much for coming. It's a bit of a lighter week, chiller week this week after we went crazy, had 39 concurrents in here last week, but should be a lot of fun. We'll keep it real short. How about if you have a booth in here or something special to announce from one of these 4 zones that are set up, why don't you come up and give a little introduction about yourself? Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, I
Who
can
else?
start us
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
So my name's Dan. I am the head of EFish Games. We have half dozen to a dozen developers and artists creating a VR fighting game that uses different kinds of weapons and produces essentially like a rhythm game of slashes that go out towards your opponent, and you're blocking them with your swords and creating them with slashes. It's a multiplayer game. It's got combos. It's got special attacks, ultimates. It's a ton of fun, and I'm trying to get this thing out the door. Wanted to share it with everybody. Hopefully somebody may be interested in playtesting. So hit me up, especially on Discord. We have a free to download copy if anyone wants to try.
Awesome.
Very
Sweet.
nice.
Who's next?
I can go next, I guess.
Sky? Yeah, go ahead.
That game sounds dope, by the way. I'm a dancer, so I want to do it. So I'm Sky Knight. That's my real birth name. I've been working on this app called Agora World. I guess the quick 2-cent explanation is that we're kind of like a VR chat for enterprise. So yeah, trying to do, world. We actually am just finishing up the world tool, so that's been something I've been really excited to share. So basically, any Unity environment can get uploaded into our world with 3D voice chat, text chat, avatars, all that stuff. And yeah, we're trying to figure out like what to do and how to make it as quick and easy as possible to jump into a virtual world with either strangers like this or with friends and family.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Light and Shadows? Who
Yes,
do we have here?
I can.
Yeah, cool, go
Hi.
ahead.
Hi, my name is Jordan from France. So it's a bit late for me, but happy to be here. I'm the head of sales and marketing at Light and Shadows. We are like kind of a medium-sized company. We do a lot of things, and today wanted to display and to present one of our latest products, which is called Steeple. Which is a plugin for Unity that allows you to import very large point clouds and to interact with them. So you can actually edit the point cloud. You can compare point cloud data with CAD data. So very useful in a lot of industries. And that's it.
Wow. Very nice.
And Jess, is Lissy here?
She is not. She ran into
Okay.
some client stuff and is not here. Might pop in, but she said it's up in the air.
Well, that's all right. Well, we got 3 great projects to check out anyways, so feel free to go talk to them, ask some questions. Let's see. Our product roadmap. What do we got coming? Oh, yeah, the emote system. I think probably in the next week, hopefully, we're going to be rolling out a prototype of using this t-shirt cannon to launch spatial ape emotes. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be asking you guys to help test that. And the other thing I would continue to encourage you to keep using and giving us feedback on is the new flow for the business card request feature. So if you click on someone's avatar and you request their business card, you're going to get connected. You're going to get sent an email that drops you into a direct message thread on the Spatial Ape website. We're hoping that's helpful for you guys to build relationships and continue your conversations after the event. So let us know how that works for you. And without further ado, we will shoot a T-shirt before we break up. So who wants one? Who hasn't gotten one yet?
And for
Alright,
newcomers, this is, if you catch the shirt, we'll ship a Spatial
Oh
Ape
yeah, this is
shirt.
real.
Ja, schönen guten Abend.
A real
Yeah,
shirt.
you're getting a real shirt if you catch it. All right.
Grüß Gott.
All right, who wants it?
Oh.
Oh, nice, Dan. Congrats.
Right.
Congratulations.
All right.
Yeah. Post a pic on Twitter when you get it. We want to. We know you're going to look good in it. We want to make sure.
It's all that rhythm game practice.
Yeah. Okay.
This is awesome.
Thanks for coming and enjoy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Justin, what's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, Jackson? How you doing, man? How you
Good,
been?
good, good.
Jackson made the logo, guys.
Hi.
If you never met Jackson,
It's true. I did.
Yeah.
Bonsoir. Lot better than
the logo
Frame,
for
right?
Spatial Ape.
Way better.
Yeah, the logo for Spatial Ape.
Very nice.
Remember, it was a different environment too. This is the first time I have been in this one, which is cool.
Oh, really?
Oh.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Now that I see it here in
Um,
virtual space, it makes sense.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah,
I can see the
let's,
ape
let's
now.
go ask
Hello,
these
Jimmy.
guys some
How are you, man?
questions.
Hey, are you? You're the guy who maintains like
There,
the site
Jackson, go
aggregator
ask,
for
go ask that guy some
WebXR, right?
questions.
Hey, man.
He's got a
Is that
cool
you?
name.
Hey,
Wait,
EFish.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Jesus.
over there. That
nice to
booth.
meet you.
I
That
don't
booth.
know.
I'm
I've
seated.
seen a few. I'm into WebXR.
seated?
I like watching it.
Yes, I wanna know all
I
Oh,
see
you're seated.
Twitter's
Yes.
stuff about WebXR.
I was
once in a
seated
while.
earlier, and I thought
This is one of the
that
main
everybody
WebXR
was
guys right next to
standing
you
up,
over
so I
here.
stood up.
Yeah,
It's-
we know
yeah,
each other.
How are you, sir?
Hey, how are you doing?
How you doing? What you doing?
Since 2014.
This is my first time here. I'm checking this out,
Or
and
a nice
it
booth
looks
has been
amazing.
torn off, sadly, but it's
Um,
looking
yeah.
good.
Yeah, these
And-
things,
Really good
but I
concept,
think they
right?
can, it's
Absolutely,
probably
yes.
saved somewhere.
This is the
Yeah.
Bring it
This
back.
is
You
the
want
way
to
to
keep
go
it, get it back
for-
up, maybe.
so
we'll
Yeah,
talk.
it's like a
Talk to
virtual
Jeff later.
fair.
Mac and Windows
exactly.
I think they can do it, like
Yeah.
on
Are you a
demand.
developer?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
yeah.
I'm
They
the
keep changing the
artist.
app a little bit.
Oh, the
Yeah.
artist.
The game
Growing.
designer.
Changing.
Oh, okay.
And we co-developed
Very
with
cool.
them
And is there footage of it right here?
physics engine,
Yeah, yeah. So there's some
which is called
video.
XDE, which allows us to create, simulate physics very accurately. And so there is like plenty of things that we can do with Interact, and the feedback from most of the consumer we had, like especially in the construction industry, they were like, okay, Interact is cool. You can import big point cloud, but I don't want to pay for Interact if I just use point cloud. So we decided to create a special application just dedicated to the point cloud feature, which is called Steeple. Steeple can theoretically load very large point cloud with theoretically unlimited number of points.
Wow.
And thanks to technology and level of details of the physics engine, we can display them very quickly into Unity. You can interact with the point cloud. We have a few features available right now. The product is still a few months old, but you can crop, for example, into a point cloud. You can crop and edit. You can copy, paste.
Hey, what is that?
What the heck?
Whoa.
I think there's a bit of a bug.
Yeah.
It sounds like that.
I would quit and pop back
Yep.
in. I don't know what.
Yeah,
this
Sounds
is.
about right.
See you
Quitting.
soon.
See you in a bit.
Can't quit. No. There we go.
Hey, Lee. Good. How you doing?
Not too bad, sir. Yeah, there is
Glad
something haywire going on.
Yeah.
Oh, what's happening?
You popped in, and then a minute later it crashed.
Did it crash for everyone?
I actually did that. I dropped down through the floor.
Yeah, me too.
Hattest du auch übel die, wie sagt man, Übelkeit verursachende Momente hier, wo man...
Oh, wow.
Kannst du mal beschreiben?
Wo alles invertiert war.
Ja, genau, so komplett weg.
Ja.
No problem. All
Aber
right.
jetzt geht's wieder, hoffentlich.
Ja, ich glaube, ich trinke erstmal ein bisschen Wasser hier.
Is this like a separate
Oh
shark?
ja, das
Kaputt
hat
gemacht.
mir echt
Klasse.
übel gemacht.
Unfassbar.
Okay.
Man kann euch
Mega.
endlich
Ist die auch
ranlassen. Nein, ihr...
That was a weird bug.
Ihr habt's kaputt gemacht.
Is the podcast already done for tonight?
Wir?
Ja, ich habe an den Kabeln gezogen, sorry.
Hey, back.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was crazy. Here, let's go.
That was a really
I
weird
was
bug.
here at the time, but podcast didn't take place.
Okay.
I don't know.
Hey, he's flying.
Yeah, hey.
So when you quit and rejoin,
in a
is that-
separate
I'm assuming
application.
that's what happened.
Yeah, and you're
So I
selling.
quit and rejoined,
You
and
said
then it
to
became,
like
quit and rejoin.
industrial manufacturing type companies
Exactly.
to
For
make
example,
models of their machines and how they work and stuff like that.
Exactly. Basically, we can you can use Tipple to answer like the will it fit question. Like you have a point cloud of your factory, and you want to buy a new machine, then you can just import the point cloud of the factory, and then import the machine, and you put it in there, and you can check if there is interference with the CAD data. So yeah, there is like plenty of application that can be done with Tipple.
That's very cool.
If you go near to the video, you can see that the point cloud that we have displayed here are like using like very large amount. I think the biggest point cloud we had our hands on was 5 billion points. So it's kind of massive stuff. And the good thing is like it's a Unity plugin, so you can use it and build on it. We had someone just like play around with Tipple and create some basic video game movements inside the point cloud. So I think it would open doors to like a lot of different applications, and especially maybe in the video game industry. We had a lot of demands from the art and culture industry as well. Like, how can I display the inside of a museum or a castle? It works also very well in the preservation of of architecture. I know that we have some point cloud of some buildings in Syria. Before and after they were destroyed, so we can display it and show them to the world. Basically that's it about Tipple.
That's cool. Is that plugin also usable for mobile devices, so iOS, Android in the end?
I don't want to say things because I'm not the technical guy here. I know that we tried something and it worked on mobile phone thanks to Furious. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a company that has been bought by Unity, I think, and they have like they offer a streaming service, live streaming service, and we managed to run our application inside Furious. So it works on mobile at a certain point. Yeah.
I see. So it would be awesome to check it. I'm working on an AR app for previous of film scenes, for example, for staging film scenes, and would be cool to have something like this in there if people having point clouds they want to test in their environments, for example. In my case, it would be the usage on an iPad Pro, for example, with a LiDAR scanner and
using
fastest possible.
LiDAR
So,
and
yeah. So
I think that's really theoretically possible. just get in touch with us. Like we also like give out trials, like 7-day trials. You just like go on our website, you request for it. And if you're like specific project like that, I'm sure that our product manager on Steeple will be delighted to exchange and to know more about what could be the usage of Steeple, because as I said, like Light and Shadows, we're working, like we have two main core business, I would say. The first one is marketing, where we use 3D technology, so AR, VR, and regular 3D to highlight products and services for our clients. And the other one, which is, I would say, our biggest activities, is the industrial sector. So we really help industrial companies to improve their industrial processes. So design review, prototyping, training, ergonomics analysis, those kind of stuff. And
there's like a Unity plugin.
Yeah, we mainly develop our product.
It has like certain like weird limitations.
But it's kind of
we built a combo system. I'm really excited about the combo system because it essentially tracks your actions while you're fighting, so that if you do a certain sequence of cuts, the direction, right, the diagonals, and then horizontal, that would be a combo that would shoot out something different. Something powerful, something spinning,
you can pick a few different
something with electricity covered in it, and it'll stun you.
Thinking about the
So that's kind of how I made it like a more of a fighting game than
it's not
a
like
rhythm
Trip,
game.
for example.
The rhythm games, it's like, oh, it's all good, we're lining up, we see what's coming at us, we're lining everything up. But adding combos, I think, really spices up what you can do, and it kind of feels like a spiritual successor to Soul Calibur.
Kinda like
That's what I've been
therapy.
kind of comparing it to, because it has combos and stun and block breaking and a lot of these things that made that game great.
Is it a competitive game? So like a two-player, or how many players
it's
are
two
against
players.
it?
Essentially, if you look here, this is kind of actually the setup. If you look right here,
but then I tried
you've got
it,
and
like
a surface.
It's a process that actually
that's up high, that you're like a beam. If you go too far to the right or too far to the left, you'll fall. So it kind of keeps you in this bound where you're trying to stay centered, but dodge stuff and not fall while you're fighting. So that kind of limits you. It also keeps you facing forward. They're not kind of getting all wandery. Everything's in one direction. It's very, zero locomotion, very beginner friendly. It's really all about placing your hands and slashing and doing, what you would do in a sword fight. I actually went to a sword fighting class when I was studying, basically researching up for this game. I took a longsword class and got friendly with the instructor, and he ended up bringing his stack of weapons to my backyard, and we just laid them out, picked them up, and started swinging. And we were like, what directions feel good, right? What are the things that you'd want to do for a combo? And so we built out 12 different types of weapons into our game. That's what I'm really proud about, is that we've got single-edged swords, double-edged daggers, we've got claws, axes, gun blades. We even have this concept of a battery where you can hold a two-handed weapon, and if you hold it close, it charges the weapon, so you kind of hold your hands like it was a hilt, and that's how you use it. And it feels really nice and heavy because you have to keep both hands together when you're moving. But it gives you a little bit more freedom of motion than I think your like Blade and Sorcery two-handed style. I think that the speed, I'm really excited to see what people do who are really good at Beat Saber and can do a lot of slashes really, I'd love to see them incorporate blocking into that. Like right now they can get real flicky and twitch things around, but can they maintain a proper defensive structure while doing that? I don't know. I think that's going to be what I'm really interested in. Is it going to be a spam fest, or are people going to take their time, or both? Like, I'm excited to see what people do with it.
Is because you mentioned it is kind of also like a music game, or let's say kind of
I did get a hip-hop artist onto my game, so I have vocals.
Okay.
I have a dozen or so instrumental tracks and 5 or 6 vocalized songs for my game from a hip-hop artist.
Okay, I was just gonna ask if let's say because of the action, and since 2 players are doing the action basically, if the I can believe that the I don't know what's the projectiles can also get quicker, and also when you charge stuff, so it's not like a constant movement or constant rhythm. But does the music adapt to the action potentially?
It's not linked for sure.
Okay.
It's not linked, but it will change when you reach certain states. So it is adaptive in certain ways. It's not with the slashes. It's more with when your health goes below 50%. It really lets you know. It kicks up the beat.
Yeah, cool.
When you go into ultimate mode, when you trigger this kind of large burst shield, you get this shield, and then it's got a nice different rhythm to it. It has more of a sense of urgency, or
it gets more epic, something like that, right?
Yeah. Right. So it does adapt to the game.
How can we play it?
What's that?
How can we play it?
Join my Discord. So I think the link is here. It should also be in my business card, and just DM me if you can't find it. But I have a Discord. I'm posting builds all the time because I'm still in alpha. Once I go onto a storefront, then I'll lock it down. But for now, it's free to play. I need all the help I can get.
Oh, cool. We'll definitely contact you then.
But it is functional multiplayer. I was playing against somebody in Australia, so it is very lag tolerant, which is nice. I'm in Maryland, in the United States, and so that's about as far as it gets. But the way we built the net code, it's designed to be very lag tolerant because of the distance you have in between each person, and the way that kind of the hit detection and the blocking and some of the other stuff, the way that it works. If lag exists, it actually spaces the slashes out a little bit to help against somebody lag switching. Which is like, I don't know. When it comes to fighting games, you really have to think competitive, right? How are people going to try to break this game? And luckily, I mean, with VR, it's much harder to script arm motions than button inputs. So I'm interested to see what people try as far as like how to get a competitive edge in VR. My first thought is they're going to lay down on the floor, right? They're going to just play the game right down here, just, fighting. So I did a lot of stuff to try to help prevent that from being a good idea. Auto aim. Like all the slashes, they target the collider on the enemy. So, it's going to hit you no matter if you're crouching or leaning.
It's like an assisted aim.
Yeah.
I decided not to do the smart missile. It doesn't know about updates to your position. So if you then move, it'll miss you, right? So it's easier to dodge. But I found that there was that kind of, because we didn't have the smart missile, there was this other problem that arose where if I was trying to hit somebody, the best thing they could do is just, jump back and forth constantly because they'd always not be where it was when they were being targeted. So I actually consulted a major league pitcher, Chris Bassett of the Oakland Athletics, who is actually he was a all-star pitcher. He was in the all-star game. He got on a call with me, and I said, okay, I know this is weird. It's probably not something you get asked, but how does a curveball work? How could I make these slashes curve in a way that would feel realistic to the real world, right? Like if I was playing baseball and throwing something, how could I alter the flight path? And so I built curveballs into the game. If you press the grip triggers, it will spin the slashes, not the slash itself. The slash doesn't spin, but its direction changes. And so you can hit somebody who's dodging because you're intentionally missing. A slash will not strike a stationary target if it's curved. So it's designed to miss so that you can catch somebody who's bobbing and weaving a lot.
Oh, sweet.
Brilliant.
I've been trying to put a lot of thought into, you know, that feeling of balance and, I don't know, fairness is more fun. You know, that just, how can this be fun and competitive and not sacrifice too much on either side? You know, because there's fun stuff that's imbalanced and can break a game. So I have to be careful. Like, recently I added gun blades. So I added pistols with kind of like a little knife coming out of the pistol. And you can slash with those, but you can also shoot. And I had to really tune how frequently you could shoot because it is so much easier to pull the trigger than to, like, move your arms and jab and slash. So pulling the trigger, I had to be really careful with, you know, because it was fun. It was like, I liked aiming and, you know, kind of doing this, you know, bad boy at the rodeo kind of like gunslinging thing. But it was just too powerful if it was too fast, and I had to really find that balance.
I wonder if you had a setting for that wasn't competitive but still fun. You know what I mean? If you weren't competing with somebody.
We've thought about like allowing streamers to fight each other and have their chat help or do something so that they actually are like, it's me and my army against you and your army.
That's interesting.
Have like little floating drone bots with little name tags that shoot little mini pew-pew laser beams that have a little bit of influence on the game. I think that would be fun. I think it would be a lot of fun just to type shoot him, you know, into the chat. And like you're helping your guy out. Although with Beat Saber, it's weird. The Beat Saber community, the Twitch chat, they love to mess with the person instead of help them. It's spinning, it's wobbles, it's like warping, and, you know, I don't know how they keep their lunch with that spinning VR room, and, you know, but they love to do it. So I'm also thinking of how do I hinder how do I make it more difficult and more impressive that they still accomplished the goal without impacting the competitive sport of like a fighting game too much. I'm trying to figure that out. The fun and competition, man. It's a tough balance.
Interesting challenge you have.
Yeah, and, you know, character design, world building, love that stuff. That is my bread and butter. But I don't know fighting games as well as many other people do. So I actually hired a game designer. And he, you know, has a degree in game design and put together the logic for the combo system, and I implemented it. A lot of this stuff is just a big group of people. All the networking code was another friend of mine who's a phenomenal VR developer. I have a creative director. Brigida is my head of creative arts and visuals. I've got several producers, music producers that handle, especially Marcus. He's a hip-hop producer, and he created all the beats for Bo Young Prince to rap over. And he knows the style, he could make the music, and I had no chance, right? I don't know the first thing about making beats for hip hop. So these are the things that I'm trying to gather these skills into my game. As leechy and succubus as that sounds. But I think it's going to come out to be a better product because I'm not trying to do everything.
How far are you in the development? Are you beta testing
We have
yet?
a working multiplayer. So it's all networked. All the core concepts and code is in. We're polishing friends lists. So we have a cross-platform friend list that, you know, we're gonna eventually have plugged in through Steam and Oculus, so that, you know, you can pre-populate any existing friends you have. But yeah, we're definitely in like polish UI, get 4 characters and weapons modeled out and into like an early access release package, and hopefully by this fall we'll have something with 4 fighters, fully modeled, fully spec'd out, and release that to the public, because I think 4 is enough for good matchup differentials. Like you'll see, you know, the mirror matches on top of, you know, the different possible styles. We just have to pick the right ones. We have to choose the right characters that hit a broad spectrum of things. Do you have your hand up? Would you like to speak?
I was just wondering, do you have any idea how far the project is, when you will be releasing, or?
So early access this fall, and hopefully we can find a backer. But if not, I'm just trying to get this thing out the door, early access, and then kind of get the last 8 characters modeled out. It's a lot of work, but it's very specific work, and it doesn't cost too much per character, but it adds up. So you know, I want to try to get a funding source so that I could finish out all 12 characters with unique models and weapons with animations, because you want the weapons to extend and, you know, really feel alive.
Oh, wow. So roughly, what does it cost per character to have the character developed?
Oh man, I found it was about $5,000 a character.
Wow.
So, with concept art, full modeling, rigging, boning, skinning, texturing, all of that. Like this guy right here, Klon, is done beautifully. My character artist, because I have an artist that, a 3D modeler, sculptor, I think. Anyway, a sculptor who does exclusively characters, and I think he is very talented. I think he did a great job with this. It fits the VRIK, the inverse kinematics, really nicely. Right here, you can see his hair is poking out. We got rid of that in the final, so just it looks like he has a mountain on his head, but it's actually hair sticking through the model. But yeah, the idea here is we want something that's lively and can be a character. Fighting games live on their characters, and I think VR is sorely lacking a set of enjoyable personalities, because everything is floating hands, and nobody is the person. Everyone's trying to like give you kind of like a black box to stand in, but I like a personality. So, you know, us having characters with backstories, and we've got 2 writers that are kind of building out who these characters are and, you know, what is their role in this world, as well as us trying to get the technical details correct on the fighting mechanics. We really want it to be fully fleshed.
Cool. Nice.
Pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
Wow. Now I want to try it out.
Yeah,
when
I'd
you're
love
ready
to
for
fight.
beta
Yeah,
testers, let us know.
I literally take my Quest with me when I go places, because I can pull out my game and be like, here, try this right here in the bar. Let's, you know, if you got enough room, you'll be fine. You just got to, there's some space. But yeah, I'm down to play and play test all the time. Did you get my message? I think I sent you an email or a message on your website.
I don't recall seeing an email from you, but I will double check it.
Okay, because I sent it on your site, and I gave I think the Discord link. So that's where it is. If you just go to the Discord link, grab my business card, whatever, just go join the Discord. That's where it is.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and let me.
I've done that.
If they send me the info, can you make sure that it says the Discord on it? I'm gonna click it and see what it actually.
Let me check.
Yeah, I clicked it again just to make sure.
But that should be the that should be what you need. And we're still working on different level designs right now. Obviously, this is kind of our kind of rural. Actually, I always said, I was like, what does rural cyberpunk look like? I've always seen urban cyberpunk, and I rarely get to see what the countryside looks like. in the future. And so we were kind of going off of that, like a quaint mountain town with a giant, ominous, like, industrial presence. Because it is a dystopia, not a utopia. It is corporate. Is it corporatocracy when there's no government, just corporations? What is it called?
It works.
So yeah, it's a corporatocracy, and so they're essentially like, you know, these giant, powerful nations that aren't, you know, aren't as well defined in their landmass. They're just, what can they influence? Because everything's so globalized. Like, I think the future is not going to have borders.
And I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is the setting Asian?
Oh, right here, because we're going multi origins. So we have some Japanese characters. We have some Egyptian. We have an Egyptian character, a Russian, Chinese. So yeah, it's global. This one just was our first, but we intend to do a few different world settings. Because I think that
It's very difficult to be completely inclusive. I know, like with my work trying to create designs for T-shirts and other items in my store, that when my first attempt to being inclusive, I had a design made, and the artist drew a little white boy and a little white girl, and I was like, well, I can't do that, right? I can't just have white kids.
You got to have
right?
some variety.
So I asked them to design some other ethnicities, which they did, and then I started putting those designs up on the store, and you end up with, because I had a boy and a girl in different ethnicities, it was like 8 designs per design, and then each item, and it got to be where it was so time-consuming to do that I finally just scrapped the whole thing, and I made the cartoon characters purple. I figured that was the best thing I could do, was to try to make
Can't offend anybody.
right? Just to make it
Yeah.
as no one's purple, so we'll make them purple.
Well, Klon. So this is Klon. The actual pronunciation, because I believe he is Dominican. So his face mask is kind of a nod to the Dominican flag. But he under that mask is a Dominican man. So the writers chose this kind of a scrappy, kind of like a, born into a mining town, kind of industrial vigilante. I think people can relate to, especially in a Hispanic community. So I just think that there are kind of personality traits and moral goals and upbringings that can guide you a certain way without being stereotypical.
Right.
It's just cultural.
Sure, that makes sense.
No, I'm not raising my hand. It's just.
Oh.
I'm
It
just
really looked
stretching,
like you
sorry.
were just stretching. Just getting in the.
Yeah.
Wait, where's the workout VR? Hold on.
Yeah.
Is it a
but
quest
this
build
build
that
is a
we
work.
can download?
What's that?
Is this the build or the download link that's on your Discord? Is it for the quest, or is it let's say?
So you can use the link. It's PCVR right now. We're gonna do quest.
PCVR. Okay.
Yeah, it's PCVR, but you can quest link, right? You can just quest link and play the game.
Exactly.
Highly recommend
because
doing
of the
that.
size, I saw that it is 1.7 gigabytes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it is large, and that's we're gonna shave a lot of that down, but a lot of that is audio assets and things. So we're gonna shave that down significantly and try for a quest build, but that's not our target right now. We're trying to get this product out there as fast as we can.
Yeah, cool.
Steam is then your target platform, right?
Yeah, Steam and Oculus, and I guess the itch.io or whatever as a platform. But yeah, the PCVR. We support all of the headsets that are PCVR because it's just easier. You hit more things, and it's an unfortunately large lift to move into this space due to the size constraints. So I'm just trying to focus right now on one thing and not, fail to deliver on multiple things.
Sure.
Well,
That's interesting.
I wish
I
you
think
a lot
the
of
other
success with your game. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think the other gentleman we were talking
Yeah.
to today, he was talking about how he built for PCVR first, and then moved to the Quest. And he said he probably would have gone in the other direction had he.
Yeah, I
started
mean, it's
over.
always. I used to say design in a drought. Essentially, create your product under limited resources and optimize for the limited resources, and then scale up to something bigger and give something that you have quote unquote starved, right? Like
Right.
get your stuff efficient, get your stuff working well on terrible. And my game designer has the worst setup, so I have had that from the get go. He's got like a Windows mixed reality on a laptop that is way too old, all spin drives. It's just miserable. But we always know where the bottlenecks are because his stuff accentuates it. Like, you really notice it. So we've got, I think, a smoother product because of it.
Cool.
I haven't been here on the beginning. What engine are you using? Are you using Unreal or?
This is Unity. We are, for no particular reason other than it's the thing that my developers knew, and so they recommended it when I went to them. I knew these two guys not growing up, but like my college days, and I knew them to be game developers, and I knew them to be VR developers, two of them. So my lead programmer and my game designer are exclusively VR developers. And they use Unity. So I was like, okay, if you guys are going to do this, let's get Unity. And I prototyped the first, I think I called it originally like Beam Arena. It was like a super retro white box. But the basic concepts were there, which is just the slashing, creating projectiles, and blocking them. But yeah, that's how the game works. Is if you create a slash, right, with your sword, it will shoot a projectile at your opponent. And so that kind of creates like the notes in Beat Saber that they have to deal with and block, right?
Reminds me a little bit of Tron.
Yes, I was going for Tron aesthetic. So yeah, Cyberpunk Tron, Cyber Ninjas with ultimate weapons, and you can kind of see some of the weapons over here. Yeah. Every character has a basic set and an ultimate weapon. And this is essentially those two ass to ass right here, and that you use in one hand, and you can cut and really do some quick cuts because of the way this thing is shaped. It's very easy to spin it around and get cuts with it.
Are you using hand tracking?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's all hand tracking. That's how you make your slashes, just like Beat Saber.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, you can play the game without pushing a button. We built a combo system based off of the directions that you slash.
Oh right.
So if you want to shoot like a spin attack at your opponent, you do a certain sequence, and then that sequence turns into special reward projectiles. And so there's something to learn in the game deeper than just the motions and blocking.
Yeah.
You have kind of a second layer.
It's a pattern that you have to, like karate or whatever kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and the patterns are all directional. So it's like a diagonal up and to the right, followed by a down strike, right? So you're just kind of trying to, move their hands based off of, what fighting style are you going for?
Little gizmo
Right.
would work with a
And
camera, and it would take a photo.
It ends up being this very interesting kind of combat simulator because everything that you do, right, every attack that you do is essentially something you could do to somebody standing next to you, right? I hit you twice like this. How would you block? It gives you time. It kind of gives like the common man time to react to what, like in Blade of Sorcery, you barely have a second to react to a sword swing, right? Like it's very disorienting. It's very difficult to do well. So I found that giving this distance and range, kind of like those, how you can see all the notes coming in Beat Saber, it gives your brain time to like plan. And think of something to do. It gives like the common man the ability to sword fight, and that's what I like about it.
No, that sounds really. Yeah. Otherwise, it's really that more reacting to something, not thinking, just doing something with your hands.
Yeah, and you have to
In
muscle
this
memory
case-
for that to work. You have to train, and I don't want you to have to train. I want you to just play,
Mm,
right? Like, well, I have training because the combos get a little deeper, but the whole act of just sword fighting should be fun, and this makes it a little more effortless than it would be
Yeah.
otherwise.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. And you are on UpLab now or something? Or
Not yet, not yet. It's all PC VR, but we are aiming to, once we get a early access release, we're gonna kind of crunch it down into a smaller kind of version that could fit in the Quest. But you know, that's not our target right now. Right now we're hitting we're going for early access on Steam and Oculus. And itch.io.
itch.io. Yeah, sure. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
When did you?
When I started about a year ago, I prototyped 2 years ago. Though I had prototyped it without a budget, and then I came across enough funding to kind of get it off the ground, and so I'm now starting my second round of funding. So we're trying to get the weapons done this time. We got basically the networking and the core mechanics and several character models, and now we're getting the weapons and polishing up the UI and getting it to a state that's going to be worth showing off.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
And was funding to find funding, was that hard?
Well, the funding sources, I'm still having trouble finding like a publisher, like a big publisher that might be interested, but the funding that I got was actually more of like a business loan, just a basic business. So, you know, it's
like 100 people, and what else? Yeah, like you know, there's like a limit on the number of events that you create and the number. But,
So people would be able to see their world in from a PC.
Yes.
So that would be the way to do it.
Correct.
But
yeah,
so
any
and you
PC,
said you said it's non-VR. Because I was thinking if you know, for a museum, for example, if they wanted to put a museum in the virtual world, I mean, I guess they could just give you a model. Or you know, upload their model to the platform and then basically offer a virtual tour of some sort.
Yeah, exactly. And like another thing they could do if the museum wanted to have like a permanent, you know, site, but then they wanted to rotate what they were showing, you know, they'd have the world be the museum world, whatever their museum looks like. But then they can, through the app, change, you know, for the event that they've hosted, what images, you know, are showing on what walls and stuff.
Right.
Switch it up. We thought art galleries would be like a really good business for us for a while, and I think maybe still that might be the case at some point. But the problem is art galleries generally are pretty conservative, and artists have no money. So it's like
yeah. Well, you know, most museums or a lot of museums rely on grants, either from private funders or from the government, and it's a whole bureaucracy to get anything approved. But because I used to work, I had one of my clients was a museum, and he was trying to create all these interactive applications to bring kind of digital into the museum space, and it took forever all the time to get anything approved. So eventually he did. You know, he got his interactive kiosks, and you know, they actually created a 3D model of part of the museum, and you can browse through it on one of the interactive kiosks that they have at the museum.
Oh,
so you have a little virtual.
Interesting.
Sorry.
Like I thought you were gonna say that it was like online or something, but it's like no, it's a kiosk in the museum to see the museum.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit ironic, but it's actually a 3D model of the part that you can't get to. because it's just the general public can't get to it for, I guess, safety reason or whatever. Right. So they were able to create a 3D model so people can see it from a kiosk. So they see it from a distance, and then they see the detail on the thing. But it would be super cool. Initially I thought it was VR because I saw the fly through like that right now.
Yeah, we had VR fully working, and then we tore it all out.
Oh, really? Did you break it, or did you just scrap the idea?
Well, so we spent like a year and a half building for like VR shopping as the target market, and we realized that just VR shopping is still years away from being viable. Like photogrammetry has to progress more, and there has to be like a critical mass of users, which is just not there yet. To make it like, because we would go to a store and be like, hey, we can make your 3D shop, and then it'd be like, oh, but like, how do we try it? It's like, oh, you need a VR headset. You don't have it. Oh, okay. So we pivoted, and when we pivoted, we both pivoted away from VR and away from shopping to be more general purpose. Which I like. At first, I was like, especially as somebody who's been in VR since like my career started in 2014. I was like definitely not for it at first, and within like a month though, I kind of like got really behind it, where I was like, yeah, like accessibility, like everybody can use it, like my mom can use this thing if I get it. I'm definitely super happy with that decision, and like still a lot of work to do, but we will definitely have VR at some point.
In the end, and it's true, right now the VR market is not quite there yet. As far as being, I thought the Quest was a really good step forward because now it's standalone and it's affordable and looks great. But then again, you have to think about, how many people have one, and then how many of those people are actually interested in something like this. You know that half of the people are just playing Beat Saber. So.
Well, and there's also these other issues. Like, so I went to Burning Man in VR last year, which that's like next week, I think, too. But like I was in VR for like 7 hours some days, and like that's a lot of time to spend in VR. Whereas a lot of the people I was hanging out with would switch after like VR fatigue, after like they would switch to the desktop version of Space. And that's still a huge issue with the current headsets, is they're just not comfortable enough to wear long periods of time.
It's true.
So, if you're going to like work or have part of your work where like you're going to meetups that are going to be a couple hours long.
It definitely gets tiring. I can see that. But that's a very neat idea, though. I love it. Especially, with such a huge demand for, everybody's doing their Zoom call, and then they're putting these virtual backgrounds in the back to try to make it look nice. This is a pretty good way to do it.
That's something I recently started thinking about, because my mom's starting to get like, she's been like training how to become like a personal coach, I guess, or like that industry of like personal coaching, and like a lot of people I feel like do have this like being in person, social phobia, whatever, where they don't necessarily want to be seen on camera. It creates like this extra level of stress, whereas in a scenario like this or whatever, like just it's way removed, where sure, it's still a social scenario, but you're not worried about like, oh, how do I look right now? Oh, people are looking at me, so hopefully that will be a positive use case for it, where people can use this to socialize in a way that's like maybe a little bit more accessible in terms of not being as what's the word? Socially stigmatic or whatever.
We're more self-conscious, really. The whole thing. I mean, I absolutely love this. This is my first time here, and I absolutely love it. This is, it's such a good way to meet, like, talk to people that are in the same industry and without leaving the house, of course. I don't have to pay thousands of dollars to go to California or whatever. So it's super cool. I love, I think something like this, it's a kind of platform that would take on as far as virtual reality goes,
Yeah, definitely.
But then again, it's the whole accessibility thing.
Right. Well, I mean, I really appreciate, like, I was talking to Justin earlier, and basically their ambition is really just to create a community for, like, the hardcore VR people, and yeah, this allows that to kind of to happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, this
I
is
guess
super
my
cool.
interest is, like, how do you do that for, like, the world? Like, how do you make it so people can just, like, form these types of communities that are, like, very specialized, but globally, rather than, like, I don't know where you guys are based, but like, I lived in the Bay Area for a while, and VR back then was, like, obviously that was, like, one of the nexi of VR, and it was really cool to go to meetups and just constantly be talking to people in space and things. But then you move away from there. Like, I moved to Austin for a bit. Currently in Iowa at the moment. I'm moving to Seattle soon, but you lose that. You're not really as connected, and you're not able to just, like, show up and talk to people. So that's why events like these, other events where people can share. It's like having that shared purpose, or that shared reason for being at an event, and then from there, obviously, it's just collisions and stuff just flows.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I absolutely love this. So what is this out now? So did you publish it, or are you?
Yeah,
alpha?
So we're in alpha.
Okay.
So if you were interested in checking it out, like, I could give you a link. It's free to download and to hop in.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try this. Get business card.
Oh yeah.
I just clicked on you. So I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. I'll receive an email. So I'll probably get your email or your website or something.
Success. You receive an email next couple minutes. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to check it out, because I'd love to present it to that client of mine who's at the museum still, and I'm sure he's struggling to get more people or keep the museum. How do you say? Keep.
Like, there's, like, the second wave of closures and stuff too, right?
Yeah, exactly. They just got out of it, and I think right now people are starting to freak out again. So I'm sure he's looking for ways to get more interest, or keep the interest going in the museum, whether it's virtual or in person. So I'd love to check it out and see if it's something
that
we could
use
use.
case specifically seems like it'd be really, really good.
Yeah.
And,
And considering that he's already got the 3D models.
Exactly. Like, he could literally have his world up in, like, fully social like this, but in for both Mac and Windows.
Was macht ihr?
Less than an hour probably of work.
PR, Marketing,
Nice.
speziell für VR.
Which
that's very neat.
In like 3 weeks. So we're releasing the alpha for our world tool in September 2nd, I think, before. So when that, like, currently there's, like, it's just the stock world that you can see kind of behind there. But after that, like, we'll actually have an SDK that you can download into
Zwischendrin tut's das bei mir.
to upload whatever world you want.
Nice.
Which in his case is obviously needed.
Was geht dann
Basically,
wieder?
that's what we found was, like, the biggest blocker is, like, people want to basically have their own space.
Yeah.
Ja, Alter,
Yeah,
ja,
of course.
fest brennt.
Yeah, like, I this is like a feature I've wanted to work on for, like, a year and a half, and I finally got the go ahead, like, 2 months ago to, like, work on it.
Wir sind heiße Typen, da brennt alles.
Crunching, getting it out. It's like so close to being ready. So I'm, like, very excited about it.
Very neat. And you've had people test it? Have
Wo
you had
sitzt die
some
denn?
testers?
USA oder wo?
Well, yeah. So
Ja.